Part 55. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 541. She was silent for a long time, gritting her teeth and looking at Lu Yu. "You're such a bastard." "I feel the same way." Lu Yu was indifferent. Opposite them, the silver armor general looked at the two of them, the sarcasm on his face becoming more intense. As expected of someone who is hiding behind, at such a dangerous moment, he actually cares about the relationship between men and women. The silver armor general sighed. "It's not like us. We struggle between life and death every day. We are in a state of confusion, like a zombie. It's really enviable." When Lu Yu heard this, he looked at him calmly. "Why do you need to vent your grievances on us? Wouldn't it be better to unite to fight? Resist? The Nayaguan people are still Nayaguan people. You Nayaguan people are cruel and ruthless, and we are willing to lose." The silver armor general laughed, and a resentful expression appeared on his face as he smiled. "Resist? That's nice to say. There are so many powerful people in your inner gate, why don't you want to come out? Why do you want low-level warriors like us to die here? Obviously, as long as you take action, even if you use some resources, we won't be so miserable. But what did you people in the Internal Affairs Department do? You didn't do anything. You just enjoyed yourself in the rear. Look at it. Open your eyes and look at it. Look at these poor people. They are the majority in the Great Wall. They live in darkness and pay high taxes just to give away resources to those in the inner city, you inner city Guan's martial arts clan, in exchange for a little protection. But what is the result? The result is that no matter how many people die, you will not care. On the Great Wall are the black armored troops, outside the Great Wall are monsters, and inside the Great Wall are you." The silver armor general laughed and pointed at the many aborigines next to him. Many aborigines even shouted excitedly, "Kill him! Everyone in the Nayaguan deserves death. Kill!" Listening to the sounds in his ears, Lu Yu felt inexplicably heavy. What is all this for? I can't give an answer myself. Because it hasn't touched that level yet. Stop talking nonsense and do it. The silver armor general regained his composure again, as if nothing had happened just now. Lu Yu let out a long breath. "Forget it, after you die, sooner or later I will change the status quo here." As soon as the words fell, a shot was fired. Chapter 0410, Life for life, but determines head. Lu Yu stabbed out with a spear. The moment the gun came out, the silver armor general reacted quickly and raised his sword to block. It's just that Lu Yu's red electric gun has already been upgraded to holy level quality, plus he has holy level weapon proficiency. How can the silver armor general be his opponent? Laugh. There was a sound of tearing flesh and blood, and at the critical moment, he avoided the vital point. Even so, an arm was lost. Looking at the gushing blood, his expression was a little ugly. "You are not simple." "You are not simple either," Lu Yu said. If he were a normal genius, he would have been completely dead if he had just faced his own shot. But the man in front of him dodged away, apparently with intuition honed in life and death. Before my thoughts could react, my body had already made a judgment. This is not something ordinary people can have. And this scene, in the eyes of others, immediately caused an uproar. Isn't it possible? The law enforcement officer is injured. Damn it! Why is this guy so strong? He must be killed. Voices sounded. The silver armor general stopped the bleeding. He glanced at a Hashiraku who was fighting with his men, and then looked at Lu Yu again. "You are indeed a genius, but you are still not good at it?" He shook his head. The next moment, blood-red flames suddenly appeared all over his body. At this moment, the silver armor on his body seemed to have turned blood red. Burning blood. Lu Yu was slightly shocked. What kind of play is this? Isn't that too radical? The level of the general in silver armor is increasing, and soon he reaches the 8th level of Tianyuan from the 5th level of Tianyuan. Feeling the surging power in his body, he laughed. How are you? Are you surprised by this kind of life-for-life style of play? But this is just the norm at the Great Wall. Only by exchanging life for life can we survive. He roared angrily and slashed at Lu Yu with his sword. The snow-white sword light bloomed, and in an instant all the bluestone floor tiles on the ground cracked, and the surrounding buildings were split into two halves in the sword light. Even before the sword was struck, the power was already shocking. Dekiao Leiju even hurriedly dodged and shouted at Lu Yu. Lu Yu, run! Run! Of course Lu Yu knew to run. The only problem is, where can I run? Shaking his head helplessly, Lu Yu tightened his grip on the gun. Why bother? As soon as he finished speaking, the aura on Lu Yu's body suddenly increased sharply. A mysterious power seemed to be blessing Lu Yu at this moment. God is coming. In an instant, Lu Yu's realm skyrocketed to the 4th level of Tianyuan. Seeing this scene, the silver armor general was a little shocked. How is this done? Before he could react, Lu Yu had already stabbed him with a spear. 9 types of breaking the sky. Boom. When the spear was thrust out, a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood seemed to appear behind Lu Yu. On the mountain formed by piles of corpses, Lu Yu seemed to have transformed into a figure and jumped out of the scroll. Clang. The spear light and the knife light collided with each other, making a metal collision sound that made people's scalps numb. And in the next moment, the sea of knife light collapsed. The spear light was like nothing that could not be broken, and instantly penetrated the knife light and fell on the head of the silver armor general. You. He was stunned in place, just spit out a word, and then fell down. A small hole appeared on his head. The silver armor general died. Dead. Seeing this scene, I don't know how many people were stunned. No one thought that the silver armor general would die like this. Not good. The law enforcement master is dead. Who is this guy? Run. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 542. In almost an instant, all the aborigines who saw the scene turned around and ran away. The soldiers who fought with the Hashi-Reiku were also shocked. In a daze, a Hashi-Reiku found an opportunity and killed him without hesitation. Ling Yu. The bridge came long and light, the soft sword in his hand swept out, and a full moon seemed to appear in the sky. The moonlight was the sword energy, pouring down, and in an instant 4 or 5 people were cut into pieces. When the others saw it, they couldn't care less about anything else, turned around and ran away. The leader is dead. If he doesn't run away, why should he be left to die? Seeing this, Dekiao Leiju did not pursue him, but sheathed his sword and looked at Lu Yu. You actually won. Lu Yu. Are you upset that I won? Lu Yu's face turned slightly dark. The bridge has been smiling for a long time. No, I wish you could win. As he said that, a Hashi Leiji grabbed Lu Yu's hand and rubbed it. Lu Yu felt the soft touch on his arm and felt a little satisfied. That's not bad. I'm sure I have a more comfortable way. Do you want to try it? What method? Lu Yu looked puzzled. A Hashi-Reiku blushed. Didn't you say to draw your sword before? I'm sorry, you're not very good at scabbarding. You. A Hashi-Reiku instantly became angry. Don't regret rejecting me. I regret it now. Really, a Hashi-Reiku became excited. Tonight I regret why I only severely injured you in the ring. If I had known, I would have beaten you to death. Lu Yu sighed. A Hashi couldn't laugh for a long time. Very good, you are the first man who can resist my charm. A question mark appeared on Lu Yu's face. You mean, no one else resisted? Nonsense, for sure. Ahashi Reiko straightened his chest out again. Seeing this, Lu Yu was silent for 2 seconds. Then they are really not picky eaters. Ahashi Reiko. I don't want to talk. Then don't talk. The way you look silent is really beautiful. Ahashi Reiko. Her beautiful eyes were widened, staring at Lu Yu. What to do? I was really angry and wanted to hit him, but I couldn't. I'm so annoyed. Hashtag. Seeing Dakiao Leiju's suffocated look on his face, Lu Yu felt extremely happy. This girl is too confident in herself. Every time she bruises her, it makes her happy to see her angry and helpless. Feeling relieved, Lu Yu then looked around. There was almost no one left in the surrounding streets, and there were 7 or 8 corpses lying on the ground. Looking at these corpses, Lu Yu shook his head. Speaking of which, the people in these great walls are also pitiful. It's just pity, pity. If you attack yourself, you still won't show any mercy. The strong draw their swords at the stronger, and only the weak bully the weak. Lu Yu was powerless to change the current situation. There must be some secret hidden behind this. However, it is not yet a level that I can access. It can only be left to be resolved later. Lu Yu, if we kill them, will there be any trouble? Dakiao couldn't help but ask. Lu Yu smiled when he heard this. What do you think? How would I know if you didn't tell me? You don't know if I don't tell you. I won't know if you don't tell me. Ahashi Reiko frowned. Lu Yu. Staring at Ahashi Reiju carefully, Lu Yu said slowly. Sure enough, the butt determines the head. Reiko Ahashi? What's the meaning? Big butt, bad brain. You scolded me again. Dakiao Leiju was annoyed. If you keep doing this, I won't leave with you. It better be so. Lu Yu pouted. He wished he could. Otherwise, I would have gone alone to find the things left behind by the moon god heavenly court. When Ahashi Reiko saw that Lu Yu was really gone, he bit his lip and followed him. Chapter 0411 Women are like clothes, I'm afraid they're not a BB machine. Lu Yu. Why are you here again? Lu Yu looked confused, but actually had a smile on his face. After seeing this for a long time, Dakiao gritted his teeth. Isn't it okay that I was wrong? What's wrong? You're right. It's all my fault. It's all my fault for being unreasonable. It's my fault. That's it? Goodbye, Lu Yu said. Ahashi's eyes widened when he saw this. You stole my lines. Ahashi Reiko was almost going crazy. At this moment, a voice floated from the side. Lu Yu, this trick of yours is simply great. Take a woman's path and leave women with nowhere to go, ha ha ha. Yu appeared at some point, squatting on the roof of the small building next to him, laughing. After hearing this for a long time, Dakiao frowned. Humph. What does the matter between us as husband and wife have to do with you? Saying that, Ahashi Leiju hugged Lu Yu's waist tightly. Yu's smile froze immediately. You fell in love with me. Yu looked at Lu Yu with a shocked expression. Lu Yu's expression was calm. Didn't you say that if you want to live a good life, you must have a little green on your head? It seems to be true. Yu flipped up his colorful hair. Sure enough, the one who knows me is Feng Chu. You're welcome. If you really want to be grateful, Wolong, if you find a wife in the future, please let me share the burden. Lu Yu nodded seriously. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 543. Yu jumped down and nodded with the same serious expression. Good brother, this is for sure. Brothers are like limbs, and women are like clothes. How could I fall out with you because of a woman, right? Of course, Lu Yu nodded vigorously. Seeing this, Yu Yu looked at Dakiaoleju next to him. Then this woman. Why, do you want to use her? No, 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 I just feel that women will affect the friendship between us brothers, so why not? Yu Yu made a gesture of wiping his neck. Seeing this, Lu Yu nodded. I think it's very good. Dakiaoleju, oh. You, don't come over. Dakiaoleju trembled and hugged himself. Lu Yu and Yu Yu looked at each other and smiled. Do it? 2. The next moment, Yu Yu flew. Feng Chu, you. Yu Yu was shocked. You actually tore your face off with me for a woman. No, you're wrong. Lu Yu shook his head. She's not my woman, she is my brother. Lu Yu patted Dakiaoleju on the shoulder. Yu Yu was blank when he heard this. But she's a woman. Why do you say that? It's her chest. It's her chest muscle. You're too ignorant. Lu Yu shook his head. Yu Yu looked puzzled when he saw this. The butt. Gluteal muscle. Face. A simple sissy. I see. Yu Yu breathed a sigh of relief, got up from the ground, and walked towards Dakiaoleju with a smile on his face. Brother, how did you get your chest muscles so big? Let me pinch them. Get lost. Instantly, Yu Yu flew again. Holding his face that was swollen on both sides, his eyes were blank again. This. My brother doesn't like others to touch her skin, please understand. Lu Yu helped Yu Yu up with an embarrassed look. Yu Yu nodded. I see, I was wrong, sorry. Yu Yu bowed to Dakiaoleju. Dakiaoleju was shocked. Did you really not see it? Dakiaoleju said weakly. Yu Yu looked puzzled at this. What did you see? I'm a woman, Dakiaoleju yelled. I'm such a beautiful girl, can't you see it even if you are blind? Lu Yu is fine, but you don't know the goods. Lu Yu shook his head at this. She means that a true brother is to be a brother's woman when his brother needs a woman, do you understand? I see, I see, I see, this kind of dedication is really great. Yu Yu gave a thumbs up to Dakiaoleju. Tired? Dakiaoleju suddenly felt tired. Why, every time Lu Yu and Yu Yu get together? I just can't understand them. Is this true love? Dakiaoleju fell silent. Seeing this, Lu Yu looked at Yu Yu. How did you find me? How did you find me? Isn't it simple? Because Wolong and Feng Shu are born to be a pair, there is a magical feeling in the dark, no matter where you are. Pa. Yu Yu flew away. Lu Yu put on his shoes worth 10,000 star cores and smiled at him. Speak human language. Okay. Yu Yu got scared. To make a long story short, I was wandering outside and suddenly saw a 50-cent candied Haas on the corner, so I ran over. You don't know that candied Haas, colorful, red, and the sugar on it is crystal clear. You call this a long story short? Lu Yu couldn't help but said. Yu Yu. The veins on Lu Yu's forehead jumped. You continue. Okay, let's talk about the candied Haas. They are really delicious. Hiss, I can't stop drooling. Lu Yu looked at the saliva that spread to the soles of his feet and was completely silent. Speak to the point. The point? Okay, I'll tell you. After my research, I found that the candied Haas shop is not authentic. So, I spent several hours looking for another shop. I'm telling you, that shop is really delicious. The candied Haas are all made of brown sugar, and they are made by hand. Combined with the red hawthorns, my saliva, hey, Lu Yu, why do you take out the gun? Yu Yu looked at Lu Yu holding the red electric gun with a puzzled look. Lu Yu had no expression on his face. I'll give you one last chance. Talk nicely. Ah, this, I know, I'll talk nicely. Well, let me think about the point. The point is, the candied haws are really humming delicious. Snort. Yu flew away, looking at his thigh with blood gushing out, his eyes were a little dazed. Lu, you actually hurt me. I didn't just hurt you, I wanted to kill you. Lu felt that he could hardly breathe. This guy is too good at talking. He must have been a talker in his previous life. Seeing this, Yu was silent for 2 seconds. I know, you must want to know how I found you. Yes. That's the question. Lu was excited. Yu smiled slightly. But I won't tell you. Go to hell. Lu kicked Yu and sent him flying. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 544. Ahashi Reiku looked puzzled when he saw this scene. Lu, aren't you afraid that he will be beaten to death by you? It's best to kill him. With that said, Lu snorted and was about to leave. Yu ran over slowly. Stop. Don't do it, Lu, you are in trouble. Yu's expression suddenly became serious. Chapter 0412 The law enforcement team reappears, your chest muscles are so big. Am I in trouble? Lu wanted to laugh when he heard this. What else do you want to be? I'm not lying to you. When I just flew up to the sky and stood side by side with the sun, I saw many law enforcement teams from outer cities coming over. Yu shook his head. Seeing this, Lu narrowed his eyes. Are you sure? Sure, you'll know after I send you up there to stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun. Roll. Lu snorted coldly and flew towards the sky. After flying only a few hundred meters high, Lu's expression became solemn. Almost as Yu said, he saw many murderous law enforcement teams in the outer city at this moment, waving flags and coming towards him. Trouble has finally come. Lu frowned and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Yu smiled proudly. Am I right? Lu. Ahashi bit his red lips tightly. Lu, what should we do now? What else can we do? Let's fight, Lu said. But Yu shook his head. This method won't work. There are too many law enforcement teams. Then what can you do? Lu looked at him. Seeing this, Yu flicked his hair. You don't even know who I am, there must be a way. If nothing else, there is definitely a whole corpse. Yu's chest thumped loudly. Do you believe it or not, I will let you complete the corpse first. Just kidding. Seeing Lu's gaze, Yu's face became serious. There are still ways. As he spoke, he took out a black token. With this thing, it will be fine. What's this? Lu looked puzzled. Seeing this, Yu explained. The token of the martial arts clan in the inner city is in the 16th city. If nothing else, it must be unimpeded in the outer city. Hearing this, Lu checked the token. Sure enough, on the reverse side, there is a big word punishment. Is this the martial arts clan in the inner city? Why do you have such a thing? Lu was confused. The outside of the Great Wall and the inside of the Great Wall are almost isolated. How can ordinary people get this kind of thing? Seeing this, Yu smiled proudly. This is not simple. I have connections with the martial arts clan in the inner city. Lu was silent for a moment. He thought of what General Shining Armor said before he took the lead. The martial arts clan in the inner city seemed to be supported by forces outside the Great Wall. It is reasonable for Yu to get it. After all, if you have a strong relationship, it will work everywhere. Stop worrying about this issue. Show your token. They won't dare do anything to you. I will take you to the inner city when the time comes. In response, Lu nodded. Ken. After waiting quietly for more than 10 minutes, the rumble of horse hooves was heard in the distance. But the one who committed the internal crimes. A middle-aged man wearing golden armor was riding a strange beast at the front, a pair of fierce eyes staring at Lu Yu closely. Star-Lord level. Lu Yu's eyes narrowed. Behind the leader were a dozen generals wearing silver armor and many soldiers. Obviously, this person's position is not low. In order to catch him back, he went to great lengths to fight. Lu Yu sighed. The middle-aged man didn't talk nonsense and just waved his hand. Take away. After he finished speaking, a dozen silver armor generals came out from behind him, and without saying a word, they wanted to take Lu Yu away directly. Seeing this, Lu Yu took out the token given by Yu. Slow. The moment the token appeared, before Lu Yu could say anything, the middle-aged man spoke up. He glanced at the token and looked at Lu Yu. Which martial arts clan is it? Same family, Lu Yu said. The middle-aged man was silent for a moment and withdrew his gaze. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned the beast's head around. The silver armor generals who originally rushed back also went back one by one, as if nothing had happened. From beginning to end, there was no hesitation at all, not even a token was checked. Dekiaoleju looked surprised when he saw this. Are you leaving now? At this moment, Yu, who was hiding in the distance, also came running. Is it useful? It's very useful, thanks. It's okay, just give it back to me. Hey, where's the token? Yu's eyes became confused. Seeing this, Lu Yu shook his head. Such a precious thing, Wolong, I feel it's better to keep it in my hands. But that's my thing. Isn't my thing yours? Is there any difference between putting it here with me and putting it on yourself? Don't you think it's too heavy for such a heavy piece of iron? Let me keep it for you. Lu Yu said with a righteous look on his face. Seeing this, Yu nodded immediately with an excited expression. Feng Chu, you are right. I didn't think carefully before, and I almost hurt the relationship between our brothers because of a small token. I am glad that you have realized it, Lu Yu said with emotion. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 545. Dekiaoleju was watching from the side, dumbfounded. Isn't this just robbery? Did I rob you? Lu Yu looked at Yu with a puzzled look. No. Yu looked at Dekiaoleju with an unhappy look. I'm not saying this, brother, I admit that you have big chest muscles and big buttocks, but don't interfere in the affairs between me and Feng Shu, okay? Pointing and nagging, it's really annoying, I'm happy, okay? Yu looked unhappy and took out a few more tokens. Come on, Feng Shu, these are for you too. Too polite, how can I do this? Lu Yu took the space wrist reluctantly, and Yu looked happy. I think what you said makes sense, yours and mine are not the same, people should not be too calculative, especially don't point fingers at others. Yu said deliberately. Dekiaoleju saw the scene and felt stupid. This. She looked blank. Seeing this, Lu Yu patted her shoulder. Don't think too much, Wolong is such a true person, you should learn from him. Learn. Dekiaoleju nodded subconsciously. Yu nodded with relief. That's it, good things should be shared. By the way, brother, how did you train your chest muscles so big? Share it? Yu said. Dekiaoleju's face flushed instantly, but soon returned to normal. Just find someone to massage you, it will be fine. As she said, she looked at Lu Yu. Yu also looked at Lu Yu when he heard it. Feng Chu, I need you. Lu Yu. He looked at Dekiaoleju who was smiling. You are disgusting me on purpose, right? This kind of thing can't be rushed. If it's too big, it's actually not good. That's right, it's so big, it's like a tumor. Dakiaoleju. After talking for a while, Yu finally said. Luyu, shall we go to the inner city? Okay. This is what Luyu was waiting for. The inner city should be full of warriors who came in from outside the Great Wall. Perhaps they have a clearer understanding of the situation here and can provide a lot of information. Luyu and the other two went to the inner city. Chapter 0413, The Prosperous Inner City, All Men Are Scumbags. The 16th city is clearly divided into half. One half is in the inner city area in the center, and the other half is in the outer city area. These are two extremes. Compared with the outer city, the inner city is extremely prosperous. Luyu just stood at the entrance of the inner city gate and heard the singing and dancing coming from inside, as well as the tall buildings inside the city wall. Please show your entry order. A guard stepped forward and stopped the three people. Yu took out a token. The next moment, the guard stepped aside and bowed their heads respectfully. Please come in, sir. Let's go. Yu waved his hand. Luyu and Dakiaoleju walked into the city. As soon as he entered the inner city, Luyu was surprised by the scene in front of him. The inner city was really prosperous to the extreme. Just a glance, what caught his eye was a sea of lanterns. Shops lined up on both sides of the avenue. Many pedestrians were walking around, which was completely different from the outer city. These people's clothes were clean and tidy, and there was no indecency. A little girl was happily eating candied haws with the woman's hand. When Luyu saw this scene, he inexplicably thought of the little girl he had seen outside before. Yu, why is there an outer city and an inner city in the 16th city? Ah, Yu was stunned. I don't know about this. The people in the inner city seem to be people from our super galaxy cluster, and some of their descendants are here. Then the people in the outer city are indigenous, Luyu said. Yes, Yu nodded. Why, are you suddenly curious about this? Curious, Luyu nodded. How can I not be curious? The outer city and the inner city are two completely different extremes. People in the outer city have problems with food and clothing. In the inner city, what I see is a thriving scene. If the Great Wall is an independent system, this kind of social structure is too incredible. Yu patted Luyu on the shoulder. Don't think too much. People in the outer city have nothing to do with us. Yet. Luyu nodded when he heard that. He is not the Virgin Mary yet, so he can't care about so much for the time being. But what really puzzled Luyu was, why is there such a polarization? Do you know any of those martial arts clans? Luyu finally decided not to think about it for the time being. His current main task is to find the relics left by the moon god Heaven. Otherwise, everything is nonsense. Yu nodded when he heard that. Yes, I'm just taking you there to have a look. I'm telling you quietly that there are a few girls in there. They are old and pure, and they must taste good. Yu had a wretched smile on his face. Dakiaoleju saw this, his face darkened. Is it really okay for you to say these things in front of me? Yu. Brother, don't you like women too? Yu was immediately shocked. Dakiaoleju. She admitted that she underestimated Yu. Seeing that Dakiaoleju was silent, Yu curled his lips. I still like women. After saying that, he looked at Luyu. How about it? Let's go take a look. Let's take a look. Luyu nodded without paying attention to the murderous look in Dakiaoleju's eyes. I'm going to do business. Business. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 546. Inquiring for information is definitely not because of the beautiful girl. Surrounded by the light of righteousness, Lu Yu had no psychological pressure and followed Yu Yu. Dakiao Leiju had no choice but to follow the two. Shuttled through the prosperous inner city, the three of them soon stopped in front of a mansion. On the plaque of the mansion, there were a few big words written. Martial Arts Scene Family. This is it. Yu Yu stepped forward and knocked on the door. Soon, the door opened from the inside, and a woman poked her head out from inside. Sir, you are back again. The woman was delighted to see Yu Yu. You are finally here. My lady has been waiting for you for a long time. She also wants to hear your story about Naegwinli again. As she said that, the woman opened the door. Yu Yu nodded and walked towards Lu Yu again. How is it okay? He smiled. Lu Yu looked slightly puzzled. What did you say to the lady? Nothing, just talking about my epic past. Lu Yu. It's pretty shitty. Seeing this, Yu Yu protested with dissatisfaction. That's the glorious past. I think it's hideous. Yu Yu was completely silent. Forget it, she has a best friend there. When the time comes, I'll take her, and you take her best friend, okay? Yu Yu arranged the tasks for the two. Lu Yu felt that there was no problem at all. Dakiao Leiju watched the two chatting on the side, his chest heaving violently, and he was very angry. Sure enough, men are all dead scumbags. She thought secretly in her heart. And under Yu Yu's familiar leadership, after a while, the three stopped. It's in front. Yu Yu pointed to the distance. The three were by the big lake in the mansion. In the central area of the big lake, there is a small island. On the small island, there is another small pavilion. At this moment, in the pavilion, two women were sitting opposite each other. One of them was dressed in white, and the other in green. They were talking and laughing, smiling, and charming. Lu Yu was slightly lost in thought when he saw this scene. To be honest, the feeling the two women gave him was very unusual. There was a special kind of pure beauty, as if it was a pure white flower that had never been polluted by the outside world, and it was beautiful beyond words. Different from the women on Earth, or the women in the galaxy or the local galaxy group that he had seen along the way. The Great Wall was almost independent from the outside, and there was a big difference in the environment. Compared with the women outside, such as the open and passionate beauty of a Hashi Leiju. The beauty of the women in the Great Wall should be implicit and elegant. Quite novel. How about it? Not bad, Yu Yu said proudly. Hearing this, Lu Yu couldn't help but pat Yu Yu on the shoulder. Sure enough, the one who knows me is Wolong. Feng Shui is polite, brothers don't have to be like this. Indeed, brothers don't have to be like this, in this case, let me have yours. Lu Yu was full of emotion. Yu Yu. I treat you as a brother, but you want to steal my girl? Dakiao Leiju couldn't help it after hearing this. Lu Yu, Why, you like one of them too? Dakiao Leiju was silent. Seeing this, Yu Yu couldn't help but say, isn't it normal to like someone? Which man doesn't like women? Don't you like them, brother? She really doesn't like them. I see, I thought she was a macho man. Lu Yu and Yu Yu talked back and forth, leaving Dakiao Leiju silent and turning away. Seeing Dakiao Leiju leave, Lu Yu and Yu Yu spoke at the same time. He finally left? 2. Lu Yu, she won't affect my picking up girls anymore. Yu Yu, he won't compete with us anymore. The two looked at each other again. As expected of a sleeping dragon/phoenix child. 2. We should think about how to appear now. Yu Yu looked at Lu Yu. Feng Chu, do you have any good suggestions? I do have an idea, but it depends on whether you can accept it. Lu Yu hesitated. Chapter 0414 Lu Yu, a beautiful woman with a curvy figure, are you lonely? Have an idea? When Yu Yu heard this, his eyes lit up. Tell me about it. Actually, it's simple. It's mainly about doing this first, then that, then this again, and finally that. Lu Yu whispered in Yu Yu's ear for a long time until Yu Yu's eyes widened. Great. It's really great. Such a wonderful idea, Feng Chu, you really didn't let me down. Yu Yu gave Lu Yu a thumbs up. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled modestly. Don't worry, according to my plan, it will definitely succeed. I think so too. We, Wolong and Feng Chu, will definitely create glory again if we join forces. Yu Yu said affirmatively. Lu Yu smiled and nodded. In that case, let's get started. Okay, I'll go first. As he spoke, Yu Yu walked towards the two women in the pavilion. Walking in the air over the lake, he was so relaxed that he quickly attracted the attention of the two women in the pavilion. Brother Yu, you're back again, the woman in green said, with a happy expression on her face. Yes, I just went to visit a friend in the outer city. Yu Yu smiled. Friend, brother Yu, do you have friends who came to the 16th city with you? The woman in green seemed very curious. In response, Yu Yu nodded and his expression became serious. Do you remember what I told you before? Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 547. I still remember that you had already mentioned that you were the genius who swept the entire galaxy. What happened next? The green-clothed woman had a curious expression on her face. Next to her, the white-clothed woman also had a curious look. They had never heard of the things outside the Great Wall, and could only learn about them from Yu Yu. That's why the green-clothed woman was very enthusiastic about Yu Yu. Seeing the two of them like this, Yu Yu smiled. My friend is also very powerful. Let's just say that the two of us, together, are enough to sweep all the geniuses in the super galaxy cluster. People give us nicknames. Speaking of this, Yu Yu deliberately paused. Seeing this, the green-clothed woman couldn't help but move closer. What's it called? People give us nicknames, the combination of Crouching Dragon and Phoenix. Seeing that the anticipation was enough, Yu Yu spoke quickly. When the green-clothed woman and the white-clothed woman heard it, their eyes immediately became surprised. Crouching Dragon and Phoenix? Nice. It seems to be a good match. It sounds very powerful, the two women said happily. In the distance, Lu Yu couldn't help but hold his forehead. Damn Crouching Dragon and Phoenix. You can just say this in private. I, Lu, have to save my face if I say it openly. In the pavilion, Yu Yu was quite satisfied with the reactions of the two women. Actually, my friend came to see me and wanted to learn from me. I wonder if it's convenient here. Yu Yu's words made the woman in green nod quickly. Yes, yes, I really want to see the strength of the genius of Naiguan. The two women nodded one after another. Seeing this, Yu Yu no longer hesitated and smiled. Don't worry, my friend is not only strong, but also handsome, curvy, and graceful. He is beautiful. Yu Yu clicked and arranged a lot of adjectives. In the distance, Lu Yu's face darkened. You said handsome, and handsome, I admit that these words are tailor-made for me. But what are the two behind? Lu Yu felt that he suddenly regretted sending Yu Yu to the stage first. At this time, in the pavilion, Yu Yu had already turned around and looked in his direction. Come out, Lu Yu with a curvy figure. Cack, clack. A crow flew over the sky. Yu Yu touched the bird droppings on his face and fell into deep thought. Where are the people? In the distance. Lu Yu had no expression on his face. Curvy figure, I'm curvy, you uncle. I'm curvy, okay. Lu Yu said he didn't want to go on stage. The atmosphere was quiet for 2 seconds, and Yu Yu smiled. My friend may be lost, I'll go over and take a look. Soon, he slipped back. Lu Yu, what are you doing? Yu looked unhappy. I've warmed you up in advance, but you didn't come out. Lu Yu. Are you sure that's called warming up? What else? Yu looked puzzled. Isn't a curvy figure the greatest compliment to you? After another moment of silence, Lu Yu looked at Yu seriously. I suddenly feel that it is necessary to change the plan. You say, I listen. Yu leaned his head over. Then. Pa. Yu flew away. In midair, Yu's eyes were a little dazed. Lu Yu, you. In order to show my masculinity, I can only sacrifice you, Yu. Lu Yu's expression was a little reluctant. But the hand he made did not reduce at all. Golden light burst out from his whole body, and Lu Yu seemed to be shrouded in divine light. Above the lake, Yu flew from the left to the right, and from the right to the left. From above to below, from below to above. The whole lake seemed to be surging because of the fight between the two people. Yu also went from being at a disadvantage at the beginning to gradually equaling with Lu Yu. It can be said to be extremely fierce. In the small pavilion, the two women were already very excited. Awesome! This kind of fighting wave is worthy of being a genius. Too strong! The two girls exclaimed. On the lake, Yu was bruised and swollen, punching and kicking Lu Yu. It seemed fierce, but it was just a cool special effect. Lu Yu, why did you take it seriously just now? As soon as Yu spoke, he gasped in pain. Seeing this, Lu Yu's expression became serious. Because I feel that I will be more handsome when I appear like this. But if you are handsome, I will lose face. Yu was indignant. Because Lu Yu made him dry the bottom of the lake again. Seeing this, Lu Yu shook his head. No, the worse I beat you, the stronger your willpower is. What is the most important thing for a warrior? Willpower. The will to move forward and never give up. Look, I was the one who suppressed you at the beginning, but later on, you were able to tie with me. This is a counterattack in itself, and it highlights your indomitable personality charm. Lu Yu spoke, and his words were like a revelation to Yu. I understand. So that's how it is. I'm so touched. Lu Yu, hit harder. Yu gritted his teeth. Seeing this, Lu Yu nodded seriously. Don't worry, I will never hold back. So, Yu vomited blood and flew backwards again, making the woman in green instantly nervous. And the next moment, she smiled happily again, because Yu quickly climbed up. In the distance, Dakiaoleju saw the scene with a puzzled look. What are these two guys playing? With her eyesight, she could naturally see that the two were just playing. Could it be that they were putting on a show? Dakiaoleju looked at the pavilion, and saw two women with shining eyes. What a scumbag! On the lake, Lu Yu and Yu had no idea that their intentions were seen through by Dakiaoleju. Seeing that the fight was almost over, they all took a step back. Let's stop here today. Lu Yu said lightly. His body was covered with golden light, and his face was indifferent, like a god. Yu was in a mess, spitting out blood. Feng Chu, I haven't fought for a long time. I didn't expect you to grow to this point, but don't worry, I will catch up with you soon. Okay, I'll wait for you. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 548. Lu Yu's tone remained calm. Afterwards, the two looked at each other, exchanged glances, and then headed towards the small pavilion. The woman in green was already heartbroken when she looked at Yu's injuries. Brother Yu, are you okay? She wiped the blood on Yu's face with a handkerchief. Yu leaned against her at the right time, shook his head and said. It doesn't hurt, I just hate myself for why I'm such a waste. Yu's words made the woman in green even more heartbroken. It's okay, you are already very strong, just take a rest. When Yu Yu heard this, he immediately cast a look at Lu Yu. Ok. Lu Yu received the look and his eyes became more indifferent. Next to him was a woman in white, but Lu Yu did not take the initiative to talk to her. He knew very well that women always liked mysterious men. Now that I have the aura of genius, I must be extremely aloof in terms of being aloof. You absolutely cannot take the initiative. Lu Yu waited, and almost as he expected, the woman in white took the initiative to speak out. Sir, what's your name? Coming. Lu Yu cast a look at Yu Yu. Ok. Ness. Both of them understood each other's eyes. Just when Lu Yu was about to speak out, suddenly, a figure rushed out from beside him. That's enough, you two. I won't let you succeed. Ahashi looked at the two of them coldly. Lu Yu and Yu Yu immediately looked at each other. Do you know this person? I don't know him. You know him? I don't know him either. Do you know each other? 2. Lu Yu and Yu Yu both looked at the two girls. The two women shook their heads. We don't know each other either? 2. I see, that's illegal intrusion, Lu Yu. That's definitely the case, Yu Yu said. Reiku Ahashi? In the end, she was politely invited out. Looking at the closed door, Ahashi Reiku felt like he was going crazy. Lu Yu. I want to take revenge on you. I want to have sex with another man. She yelled. Lu Yu didn't respond, but a beggar with cross-eyed eyes came over. Beauty, are you lonely? Ahashi Reiku. Woohoo, there is no love in this world. In the mansion, Lu Yu and Yu Yu clapped their hands and smiled at each other. It's perfect. Chapter 0415 You actually like to play with snakes, Great Wall 24. It's perfect. Lu Yu and Yu Yu laughed loudly and walked towards the small pavilion. On the way, Lu Yu had returned to his aloof image, with an expression on his face that he should not approach strangers. The two girls looked very happy when they saw the two people coming back. I forgot to introduce you. Let me introduce you too. This is Feng Chu and Lu Yu, Yu Yu said. Lu Yu nodded, with a mild smile on his face. Seeing this, Yu Yu secretly complained. This is too good at pretending. Lu Yu, this is Xiao Qing, and Xiao Bai. Yu Yu introduces the two girls to Lu Yu. When the two women heard this, they both bent slightly. I've met Mr. Lu. Lu Yu. Xiao Qing Xiao Bai. Good guy. Team up to play the Legend of White Snake. Lu Yu stepped on Yu Yu. Trench. Yu Yu jumped up instantly. What are you doing? He has a bad eye. Lu Yu made an excuse and pulled him aside. Are you letting the snake go? Lu Yu's eyelids twitched wildly. When Yu Yu saw this, he immediately became unhappy. What's wrong with snakes? Do you look down on people born in the year of snake? Lu Yu was silent for a while. What I'm asking is, are these two women transformed into snakes? No, Yu Yu looked confused, but quickly reacted with a shocked expression. So, that's it? I asked Lu Yu why you don't like me or women. It turns out that you like to play with snakes. Yu Yu's eyes widened. Lu Yu's fists clenched instantly. Gives you a chance to reframe your language. Playing with snakes is actually quite good. I'm really not discriminating. Snap. Yu Yu flew into the big lake. Xiao Qing immediately became worried. Brother Yu, what's wrong with you? I'm fine, I'm just fishing. Yu Yu emerged from the lake and spat out several fish in his mouth. Seeing this, Xiao Qing breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. Yu Yu came ashore again and looked at Lu Yu with a puzzled look. What's wrong with you? Nothing. Lu Yu curled his lips and regained his cold image. Xiaobai and Xiao Qing really shocked themselves. I thought it was my turn to be Su Xian. But it seems that I am worrying too much. After calming down, Lu Yu looked at the woman in white. Yu Yu and Xiao Qing have gone nowhere, and now there are only Lu Yu and Xiao Bai in the small pavilion. Master Lu. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 549. A smile appeared on the face of the woman in white. Lu Yu nodded but still didn't say anything. Stay cool. Be sure to stay cool. At this time, you must not take the initiative. It was almost exactly as Lu Yu expected. 10 minutes later, Xiao Bai spoke. Sir, are you mute? Lu Yu. Lu Yu swore that he never expected that the girl in front of him would speak so shockingly. Ahem, I was just thinking about a question. Lu Yu spoke up. Seeing this, the woman in white couldn't help but be curious. What's the problem? Tell me, why are those people living outside the Great Wall so miserable? Lu Yu pointed his finger in the direction of the outer city. The woman in white was stunned for a moment when she heard this. This. You know what? I don't know. The woman in white blinked. Why, sir, are you curious? Lu Yu. Very good. Successfully said nonsense. I'm quite curious as to why the Great Wall is like this, Lu Yu said. He had given up his expectations. This girl probably doesn't know anything. What Lu Yu didn't expect was, the woman in white really knows something. It's very simple. Except for those of us in the inner city, everyone else in the Great Wall is the descendant of the prisoners who have been imprisoned here for generations. As soon as these words came out, Lu Yu was slightly shocked. How do you say this? Well, it's a long story, so I'll keep it short. It's actually simple. These people from the outer city are all exiles. They are a race that made big mistakes in the past. The woman in white looked serious. Lu Yu nodded after hearing this. Then what? It's gone, the woman in white said. I know there are only so many. Hearing this, Lu Yu didn't ask further questions. It was unlikely that she would lie to herself, and there was no need to lie to a stranger she met for the first time. If it was true what she said, Lu Yu would be able to figure out some logic. The people in the outer city are the descendants of the race that committed crimes in the past. They were exiled here and guarded the Great Wall with their lives. These people in the inner city are similar to jailers, guarding the descendants of the criminal clan. The black armored army inside the Great Wall is the last hurdle to prevent them from escaping. Thinking of this, Lu Yu's mind suddenly became clear. No wonder they reject outsiders like themselves so much. It's no wonder why the Great Wall doesn't provide them with resources. I see. But despite this, Lu Yu still didn't fully believe it. You must not have the intention of harming others, and you must not have the intention of guarding against others. Except for those closest to you, just listen to what others say. Otherwise, you won't even know if someone uses a gun as a weapon one day. Lu Yu smiled and nodded to the woman in white. I see, thank you very much. Yeah, it's okay. Do you have any other questions? Other questions? Lu Yu thought for a while and realized that he really had a problem. Just 1 or 2 questions. While talking, 3 hours passed. 3 hours later, Lu Yuji stood up proudly. Thank you very much. The woman in white was lying on the table, her mouth was dry and her throat was hoarse. Is that a problem for you? Yeah, why not? Lu Yu looked puzzled. The woman in white wanted to cry. How about you ask all the people in the Great Wall what they like to wear? At least a few hundred questions. But I only used 1. Lu Yu's expression became more and more confused. Seeing this, the woman in white bit her lip. Then I don't care. Next time you come, you must tell me stories outside the Great Wall. Next time, definitely next time. Lu Yu nodded seriously, then turned and left. Joke. I have heard all the information that I should know, and I won't come here next time. Lu Yu's heart could be described as burning. After inquiring just now, Lu Yu probably figured out the situation of the entire Great Wall. And the reason why I asked hundreds of questions in such detail was because I was afraid that someone with serious intentions would see the true purpose, so I deliberately confused the audience. At the moment, Lu Yu smiled as he took stock of the information in his mind. There are a total of 24 cities in the Great Wall, which is far lower than I originally thought. This is undoubtedly good news. After all, the more cities there are, the more difficult it will be to find them by yourself. But now it seems that the scope has been narrowed down a lot. And I heard from the woman in white that the most prosperous city in the Great Wall is Luna City. Listen. Luna City. Don't even think about the name. The relics of the moon god's heavenly palace are there on the cliff. As for the other 23 cities, Lu Yu didn't care much. The first target must be placed in Luna City. What just gave Lu Yu a headache was: how can I get to Luna City? Chapter 0416 I got pregnant on the spot, even calling daddy was useless. How to get to Luna City, this is the biggest question. According to Xiaobai, the 24 cities of the Great Wall have few connections with each other, and she doesn't know how to get to other cities. In this regard, Lu Yu's current countermeasure is to ask Qian Shui when they gather tomorrow. That woman still owes me a favor, so there's no way she won't help, right? Lu Yu thought. At this time, Yu came over. Oh my god, you've been doing this for so long. He glanced at Xiaobai. Xiaobai was lying on the table alone, and suddenly, he started to vomit. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 550. This shocked Yu again. Bullshit. I got pregnant on the spot. Snap. Yu flew away. Covering his face, Yu looked sad. You hit me again. Hey, where is Xiaoqing? Lu Yu asked. He now plans to find Xiaoqing to find out more. When Yu heard this, his expression immediately darkened. Xiaoqing, she's gone. Lu Yu. She left me. Lu Yu. I can only rage. Lu Yu. Looking at Yu, Lu Yu suddenly sighed. There's nothing to be sad about. As a man, you have to lose something. It's not just once or twice that you get cheated on. Just get used to it. Lu Yu patted Yu on the shoulder. Yu shook his head. No, she just went home for dinner. Lu Yu. You die. Lu Yu kicked Yu out of the compound. Ma Dan finally felt sad. Are you telling me this? In this regard, Yu felt a little empty. Hanging on the tree, Yu smiled miserably. Sure enough, even you don't comfort me, life. Yu drank wine. Lu Yu glanced at the time and was a little surprised. This is not the point yet. Ahead of time? Regardless of Yu, as soon as Lu Yu stepped out of the gate of Xing's house, he saw Reiko Dakiao waiting at the door. Are you comfortable? Ahashi Reiko came over with a smile on his face. This made Lu Yu quite unnatural. This girl, her reaction isn't quite right. Was he too stimulated? Lu Yu touched Ahashi Reiju's forehead. No, I don't have a fever either. Lu Yu was confused. Ahashi Reiku. She let go of her hand and said coldly. Lu Yu, do you really think it was me licking you? Be confident and get rid of your assumptions. Ahashi was silent for a long time, and finally said slowly. What do you hate about me? Why don't I change it? Your gender. Reiku Ahashi? You are still you, Lu Yu, you have never let me down. Ahashi Reiku gave a decisive thumbs up. Seeing this, Lu Yu clasped his fists politely. The same to you. Yes, that's right, Ahashi Leja nodded. Lu Yu shook his head. Your chest muscles are too big, I'm afraid it's hard for you to be even. Reiku Ahashi? I'm so angry. It really pissed me off. Ahashi Reiku's small fists clenched loudly. At this time, Yu Yu finally climbed down from the tree. He looked at the two of them and yawned. It's getting late, where do you two plan to stay? This. Lu Yu and Yu Yu looked at each other and then looked at Daikiao Leiju. You two went too far. You teamed up to bully me, a weak woman. Ahashi Leku finally couldn't hold it in any longer, and tears fell down. Yu Yu scratched his head. Lu Yu, I think you are right, this is a sissy. Go to hell. I am a woman. Ahashi Leiju stared at Yu Yu. Seeing this, Yu Yu was silent for a moment. Actually, I've seen it a long time ago. Lu Yu. Reiku Ahashi? Seeing this, Yu Yu sighed. I know that some people may have bodies and minds that are not of the same gender, and have a strong desire to change their body gender. Just like you are obviously a woman, but in your heart, you think you are a man. You are brothers to us, and we also treat you as a true brother. If you don't mind, let's sleep together tonight, the three of us, and I'll sleep in the middle. Yu Yu blinked. Lu Yu. Ahashi Reiku. Good guy. Is it right for both men and women? Lu Yu kicked again, and Yu Yu flew away again. Let's just find a place to stay and don't worry about that guy. With that said, Lu Yu took Dachiao to find a hotel in the inner city. What makes Lu Yu happy is that the inner city recognizes star core. 1 room, 100 star cores per night. Although the price is much higher than outside, Lu Yu is already a multimillionaire, so he is not short of the star core. After paying for it, Lu Yu originally wanted to open 2 rooms, but due to Ahashi Leiju's strong insistence, Lu Yu only opened 1 room. It must be dangerous here at night. I have to protect you tonight. Ahashi Reiku looked firm. Lu Yu, oh, carrot, oh. In the end, Lu Yu only opened 1 room. Just after going upstairs, Ahashi Reiku locked the door and locked it again, and finally even hung a big iron lock on the door. In front of Lu Yu, she put on a sexy JK skirt and stockings. Tonight, the two of us will fight to the death. Ahashi Reiku licked her lips, with a charming blush on her face under the dim light. Seeing this, Lu Yu couldn't help but feel dry. Don't force me, otherwise it will be useless for you to call me daddy. Haha, if you can let me call you daddy, you can do whatever you want.